Good morning, everyone. It's James Carpenter with Country Living. We're going to build a parts bin. I picked this up at Harbor Freight over the weekend. It was on sale for hang on, I got it written down. $34.99. That was $15 off the regular price. So I thought I'd give it a shot and see if it was actually a worthy purchase. So right now I'm unboxing the components. I will say that the paint on those painted parts was well done. That looked good. The overall thickness of the metal, like the shelf there and the sides and the uprights and all that, a little bit on the I'm going to call it flimsy side, but what do you expect for 35 bucks? Okay, so everything is unwrapped. Let's get rid of the box. Let's take a look at the instruction sheet. Now I'm measuring to see where I'm going to hang it. Those two long skinny pieces are the X bracing for the back of the unit. The fasteners, they're square drive and a 10mm nut. A little bit tedious. The size of those bolts and nuts are pretty small, and I'm working with rubber gloves on. That piece I just picked up is the very top shelf. I know I said that the metal was pretty flimsy, but I will say this: once everything was bolted together, it firmed up pretty well. The positive thing about it being thin metal, it's lightweight, so it's easy enough to move around. It was a little bit of a learning curve putting these shelves in there. There's 3 pieces involved. There's the shelf, there's the actual housing that the shelf goes in, and then there's a little metal support bracket. So what you have to do is you have to line up 3 holes in 3 different pieces of metal. So what I ended up doing was I found some bigger screws, and I used those to temporarily hold everything in place while I started putting the assembly screws in it. Alright, 2 shelves down, 1 to go. This thing's about finished. No, it looks like actually 2 shelves to go from what I'm seeing back there. But anyhow, just like that, we got all 3 of them in there. I'm tightening everything up. I'm using that square, that X bracing on the back. So I'm holding this square, and then I tighten up the 2 metal X bracing on the back, and that confirmed, and I confirmed that it was perfectly square. Alright, this bracket is how I'm going to hang it. The top shelf will sit down in there. Those nuts that I put in there was spacers. So that's what it looks like hanging. Let's put the little plastic boxes, I guess would be a good term. Now, I did find 2 of them that were broke. You'll see one here in a minute. They probably got damaged in shipping. The only thing I'll say about those plastic pieces there, I've got some of these that are made by Uline or sold by Uline. The thickness of the plastic is a lot thicker on the Uline stuff than it is this Harbor Freight stuff. That's a broken one. But overall, for 35 bucks, again, what would you expect? Anyhow, I'm satisfied with what I got for the amount of money I spent. Is basically where I'm going with that. I decided that there was an area up above the shelving unit that I could put some pegboard. So right now I'm building well, basically a bracket, maybe we could call it. And what the bracket will do is support the pegboard. Thing's fighting me a little bit. Okay, I'm using that speed square to make sure that this rectangle is square. I'm using probably a 2-inch deck screw. Obviously, as thin as that wood is, there's only one screw in each corner. But once the pegboard is stapled on, it'll be pretty rigid. I always like to pre-drill to keep from splitting the wood. Alright, there's the pegboard, 17.5 by 38. I cut that on the table saw. Right now I'm stapling it to the framing we just built. Those are 1-inch brad nails, by the way. Okay, so that's where it's going to go, right above the rack, just like I stated earlier. Now I'm going to fasten it to that shelving unit. I'm not sure why I looked in those bins, but they're empty, I can assure you that right now anyhow. Okay, these are hooks that you can put in the pegboard. Right now I'm just kind of putting them up there. That's not where their permanent home's going to be, but that's the storage area for right now. Now these are longer ones. And if you ever do get involved with pegboard, they make 2 different sizes of those brackets that you can hang off there. Little thin ones and some heavy duty ones. So I've got a few things hung up here, and I took some of my electrical tools and I wanted to be able to find them quick and easy, so each one's got its own little cavity. So the video's coming to a close, so there's a few things you can do for me. You can hit that like button, that really helps me out. And if you're not subscribed, you can subscribe if you like my content. Other than that, have a great evening.